So now that you have a basic understanding of the breakdown of the design of any page, this is why we encourage you to start with templates, because you can come into a template and you can learn its element or learn its structure and then begin to make changes based on what you want. And so as we are building out our Top Health Coach Secrets booking funnel, where we're trying to book a free call with someone, we now have some understanding of the different layouts. So we look here and we call this is our logo section. So you see, this is a section right here, and I'm going to pause here and show you. You'll notice that this section is purple, and we're going to talk about how to save sections, but this is still a section, but you'll see it says global header. This is a section that's been saved globally, so it can be used on all the pages, and any changes I make here will be made globally. Okay. So don't worry about that. We're going to show you that in a future training, but now we're going to talk about how do we add and edit the elements so that they have the look and feel and the content we want. So let's start with just text elements. So anytime I select an element, the first thing you'll notice is it shows up in the settings section on the right-hand side of your designer. Okay. Now, the first thing you'll see at the top is the name of the element. Don't be confused. This is not the name of what you type here. This just happens to be a headline element. I can change this name for organization purposes, and I could call this my top headline. So now I know it's at the very top, and it'll automatically be like that. Okay. Secondly, as you go down, you'll see there's different options. And for every type of element, you have different settings that are available to you. So we're working in a text element, but it would look different for an image and than it would for a text. So I select this and I see certain features that I have. If I select the graphic here, it's going to change. It's going to show me other features that I have, and we'll talk about those. So if I want to change what this says, I just simply click inside of it and I type my headline, right? So that's how I can simply change text. If I want to change the color of the text, I have a couple of options. You'll notice I'm inside of here and my top headline is listed. And so this is what I'm working on, is the top headline. And you'll see there's some options here. So first we can do, we can create a light fade. So I can change the fading. Give you a better idea. Here's a heavy fade. So I can make this kind of hard to see. We can leave our opacity the same. So you have some basic items. I can change the background. So notice that this is black. Maybe I want to change the background here and let's make it orange. So now this highlights with my branding board colors. It's got orange in front of the black text there. Okay. I can scroll down and you'll see your basic color options. So I can set these to be, there's the green now, or I can set it to be my red, and just for my branding board colors. However, I can also change things directly. So maybe for this color, I want to make it black. So I can change this to just black. So now everything else is the red, but this is black. Or maybe I want the whole thing to be black. I can now change that to black. So on and so forth. So you can make individual changes as well as global changes to your elements. You'll also see that you can change your typography. So if we come down through here, you got opacity, you can change your letter spacing, you can change your alignment, all things that you're very used to in changing in any type of element. You can change your font size. So I can change this to 48. Okay. And you'll notice that this is changing on the desktop view because we're working in desktop view. If I switch into mobile view, it's going to look a little different. And we'll talk about a whole thing on editing your mobile in a different lesson. So then you can see that we have our font weight, which is like the feeling of the font. So if I can change this to thin, I can change this to extra light, and so on and so forth. So we're going to change this to bold again. So there it is. And you can do that. Not every font will have these features, but some fonts do. Now you'll notice as we get down here, it's going to ask you the typography type. Now, what that means is we've showed you in the first lesson, we showed you at the top, you have an option for typography. Now, if I click on typography, you're going to see there's two types of fonts, your headline font and your content font. Right now, we're using in the system, it's using for this particular element, it's using the headline font. So if I want to change the headline font, and this will apply globally, I highly recommend, just like I did in our branding boards training, I highly recommend you have at least one headline font that you use consistently through your brand and one content font. And so that's what you'll select there. So I'm going to select here and I'm going to go I'm going to use what I use for most of mine, and we're going to set it to Poppins. Now, what happens is it changes it here, but anywhere else in the system that had selected headline, it changed it there too. This makes it very easy to keep a consistent look by choosing headline and content. Now here you'll see this is set to content font. Now, if I change my content font, and I like to use Aleo, so if I change my content font, you'll notice that the content font changes here immediately. Anywhere else that we're using content font, it's going to change. So that's a really great tool that you can use. Same thing with our text color. I know that that's my black text color. So as a default, anything that's set to normal text color will be black. This black that I choose. And my link colors, I can automatically change my link colors across the board so that wherever there's a link, it's going to be that green that I've selected. And you'll see it updates on the right-hand side as well. However, what if I got in here and I said, I don't want to use for this one, I don't want to use the headline font. I can come in and I can choose a custom font and I can create any custom font I want, make it Montserrat, and I can do it to anything I want. And so you can still edit the specific fonts on text elements. Moving down through here, you'll see you have those options we talked about. You can add an icon here. So maybe we could do a light bulb and select that light bulb. And we can even change the icon color directly and make this red. So there's our light bulb color, or I could make it white and so on and so forth. So I can actually add icons on our text messages, our text elements as well. And that's how you use the text elements. And again, you have multiple text elements to work with: headlines, subheadlines, paragraphs, bullet list. You have lots of them, and they're all going to have very similar settings. So in our next training, we're going to show you how to use some of the other elements. Specifically, we're going to talk about images so that you can see a little bit of a difference between the various types of elements, which will set you on your path to being able to use all the elements. So